Hi everyone. Very often people ask me, well, you have summer honey. You label it as summer honey, but what is in the summer honey? Well, today we'll have a look at a few flowers that are in bloom, or today, June 29th, we're in Quebec, Canada, and hear what's in bloom at that time of the season, just to give you an idea of what is inside that famous summer honey. So behind me you see some yellow flowers. It's yellow sweet clover. Let's have a look at those flowers. Another view of the yellow sweet clover, which is an excellent source of nectar in summertime. Really one of the main source of flowers right now for our bees here in Quebec. Here are our two different type of flowers. We have some honeysuckle. For the honeysuckle here on June 29th this year in 2022, it's getting a little bit late for it. There were more bees in it recently. But then behind me I have some type of raspberries that are very special, very beautiful. The flowers are bigger than usual. The bees love them. They're also in those plants as well right now. Here also in Quebec, as a natural wildflower, indigenous flower, we have milkweed, which is very known to be this source of food for monarch butterflies. So now let's have a look at the pollen that the bees harvest right now in the summer, and that tells us also a fairly good idea on what plant they're foraging on. So let's have a look at the pollen trap here. I'll crack it open just for you to see. It's just the pollen they harvested this very morning, and we're all still in an early day. So you see the different colors. The dark brown would be clover, probably red clover. The brownish would be sumac, and the pale orange, almost yellow, would be that famous yellow sweet clover we've been looking at earlier with the plants. So when we harvest bee pollen, we always make sure the bees keep enough for themselves. So that's why we have those little openings here, two of them here and there. And this is important because the bees need a lot of pollen for the babies. So through those holes, they bring it right in the beehive to feed their babies. And that's what they use mainly. Even though the opening at the bottom is bigger, they still bring lots of pollen in their beehive for themselves. So here we see the bees on holly, which is a very nice summer plant that gives lots of nectar. When we find lots of it, they are filled with bees. They mainly go for nectar, but there's a bit of pollen as well, which you can see on the hind legs of this bee, just tiny little beginning of pellets of pollen on it. Very beautiful. here are sumac. They are amazing, the bees love them. As soon as they bloom, bees bring tons of pollen pellets from sumac. So this is one of the main ones for early summer. So here we see a nice sumac patch. Very beautiful. Very abundant, lots of bees in there. Of course, there are many flowers we didn't go through specifically because we're still early in the summertime, so not all the plants were in bloom. We can think about linden trees. There's of course lots of different clovers we didn't go through, and many more. We're talking about dozens of different natural wildflowers, plus all the ones that are cultivated. Sometimes we can also be located nearby, but just the wildflowers, there's tons of them. At least you've seen some, you have an idea how it looks, how the bees go on them. I really made sure that we have footage with the bees on the flowers themselves. So thank you very much and see you very soon for another apitherapy video.